Howdy, 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 all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome back to another day here on Anti-Tools Farm. Berkeley, it's almost the end of fall. I think it's the last day of fall.
Whoa, it is. I didn't even notice. That's crazy. Better get this last pomegranate and enjoy it.
I know.
You savor that thing. Or tell whoever you give it to
To
savor it.
savor it. I will. I'm going to give it...
Pierre, I know you usually swallow these whole, but I want you to take little bites.
Oh, man. Could you imagine trying to swallow a pomegranate whole?
I cannot. That would be just the worst
It would
thing I
be
can imagine. You would die.
Extremely uncomfortable at the very least.
I feel like that was an internet challenge at one point to like put a whole orange in your mouth or something like that and just like try to chew it up.
That seems
And
gross.
then, yeah, so someone got like seriously injured
Wait.
doing that.
Berkeley, you have just
Yes, sir.
unearthed a deep memory. Do you remember Chris Campbell from Cross Country?
Oh, was this a real thing that happened in my life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you remember
I
how
do remember Chris Campbell.
he used to eat bananas, peel and all, just whole?
Oh, I don't remember that with bananas.
Dude.
Yikes.
Maybe he only did it once because, to be honest, that's the amount of times I would do it if I felt like doing it. But
You know how many times I would do it if I felt like doing it?
none times.
None times two, maybe 10% of a time. There were days of my life when I would take a single bite of an unpeeled banana, but no more than that.
You do one nibble and then think, yeah, that's
Yep.
gross. I'm good. I don't need this in my life. Oh, man.
Ugh.
Well, for all of you out there listening to my voice, don't eat things that should be peeled without peeling them. There's a reason we peel them. We might come from apes, but we don't have to eat like them.
Well said. Jared, when I was logging into the game today, it said that I have exactly 42 hours and 21 minutes in this world,
Wow.
which I think is really special because that's just a number and then the same number cut in half, which is probably some sort of omen.
Definitely is an omen. Today is the day that episode 2 starts, and it's Revenge of Big Tool, and they show up with a Death Star and waste us.
Oh boy, I don't know how I feel about that. Like
I
on the
don't...
one hand, that'd be kind of cool, but on the other hand, I like not being wasted.
Yeah. I think it might be weird for like viewers to see Star Wars suddenly incorporating Stardew Valley, but I think George Lucas would love it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure how that would be for our long-term brand, though, for us to just like have the farm be eviscerated.
It wouldn't be great. It would
We've
not be
had
great.
worse. We can rebuild.
We the foundations are still strong. We could rebuild.
All right. Well, can you think of anything we should do since it is the last day of fall?
Oh, okay.
Get ready for
So
winter.
full disclosure, Berkeley and I talked a little bit pre-stream, and one thing that I rely on to get my friendship points every day is fruit. And I think right now we don't have any spring fruit trees, and it's a little late to do something about that. But we could take a look at what we can do as far as tree planting in the greenhouse if there's space for that.
Yes. Yeah. So other people might have different strategies. Every time that I've never gotten full hearts with everyone, but I have gotten most hearts with most people and full hearts with most people. Every playthrough where I've done that, it has been just by getting so many fruit trees in the greenhouse and just handing out fruit everywhere that I go. So I think that's the strategy we're going to try here. Um, we can still give out some targeted loved gifts here and there, but yeah, I think some fruit trees in the greenhouse are going to get us a long way. The fruit tree fruit is nice as gifts because it's universally liked. I think each fruit has one person that loves it, and then everyone else likes it. So you can just carry your stash of 50 peaches everywhere and just hand them out like candy.
That's right. And you can sing the Peaches song to yourself while you do that.
Yep. Millions of peaches. Peaches for everyone but me. You better not be eating them.
That's true.
Hey, Babarma. Welcome. Okay. So, yeah, that's one piece of strategy. We don't strictly need to do that before winter starts, but I guess today's as good a day as any. I think that we should also sell all our pigs, maybe tomorrow instead of today, so they can still get truffles today. Um, Someone smarter than me did the math and figured out that it's more cost effective to sell all your pigs and then to buy new ones the last week of winter so that they're fully grown in time for spring. That's more cost effective than feeding them through the winter. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Sorry, pigs. I hope no one had too big of an emotional attachment to them.
Wait, what are their names?
I don't. I think it's better that we don't know.
Oh, well, this one's name is
You can check
River,
them.
and its parent was the doctor, which is amazing. Berkeley, good
Mm,
job.
thanks.
And I'm assuming this one in here is the doctor. Yep. And this one is also River. Wait, what? There's two rivers?
I think we only have two pigs. Maybe it ran in right after you.
Oh, okay. It must have. That really freaked me out, man. Berkeley, by the way, I just need to point out that we have something I've only ever seen on the internet, which is a mushroom tree on our farm.
Oh, really?
Look at
Where?
it.
Oh my goodness. That is a beauty.
How do we make it spread?
I think we'd have to kill all the trees around it, which, would be precarious.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh, yeah, way down there.
My goodness. This is so cool, guys. Giant mushrooms. Very cool. So, giant crystals that you can sit on slash walk on are a real thing. You can't do it without wearing a hazmat suit to deal with the like heat and chemicals of the cave that they're in Mexico, I
Uh-huh.
think. But giant mushrooms you can like stand under and whatnot. I don't think are real.
Yeah, I don't know of any. Control and delete said there's only one river, but it came back from somewhere in the future. Love it.
That's a man who knows the lore.
Okay, well, we spent our whole day talking about what we should do to prepare for winter and didn't actually do anything. That's fine. I think we decided we don't need to do anything today. Yeah, so we'll sell our pigs tomorrow, buy new ones in the last week of winter so that they're ready to start harvesting truffles in spring. Another thing that we want to do is try to get our foraging level up to 10 because at level 10 foraging you can get a perk that lets you it makes it so every truffle you pick up from the ground is iridium quality, and so that is going to make
Ooh,
our pigs way more profitable.
that sounds like a great idea.
And I've had multiple people be surprised that we are not level 10 foraging yet because we do spend a lot of time foraging. The reason we're not level 10 foraging yet is because most foraging XP that you get on a normal playthrough comes from cutting down trees. And if you bomb a tree, you do not get the XP from it. So we are severely lacking in farming XP. What we can do instead is plant some forageable seeds in the greenhouse. Looks like we've got 8 winter seeds. That's not a lot. I'll check the other chest and see if we have more of the other types of seeds. But if we can get some spring seeds, winter seeds, fall seeds, summer seeds, doesn't matter. If we can get some of those going in the greenhouse, then we'll be able to quickly get up to level 10 of foraging XP. Control to delete says irradiated truffles are not recommended for human consumption. True, but you can turn them into oil and then give that to Mayor Lewis when he asks for it. That's allowed.
Oh no, that's like some sort of Russian poisoning scheme.
Okay, I don't see any spring seeds anywhere, but we do have lots of spring forageables in this chest, so we can use those to craft some spring seeds. All
Berkeley,
right.
a lot of people
Oh, go
talk
ahead.
about brown cows giving chocolate milk, but
Mm-hmm.
what if like cream cows gave mayonnaise?
What? Why would you say that? Take those words back, please.
I will not.
Did you just get that little growl on the top left or bottom left?
I saw that we made 1 million gold. Is that right?
We made 1 million gold, guys. That is
That's
great. In
that's a
just 7 seasons. We're still in year 2. This is fantastic.
it's 1 million gold untainted by Big Tool. By the way,
Yeah, not a penny of that went to the Hammer Company. I don't know how we personify Big Tool. Control Alt and Delete says green cows would give you wheatgrass milk, or I don't know how to say this, matcha latte.
hmm,
Oh, is that
mate.
mate?
Like,
I have never seen that word written. I've only seen it heard. So I apologize if that's how you spell mate.
let me look. Let me look at the chat. I don't even know how to do that. Hang on. Hang on.
Jared is just learning that there is a chat. He thinks I've been making it all up the whole
I
time.
thought this was just Berkeley and I, and he's got like 10 different personas that he's blaming his discussion on.
Okay, Alton says mate is different from matcha. That leaves me with no clue of how to say matcha other than the spelling, which I guess is a pretty good clue. Unless it's not.
All right. I have to say that I genuinely do not know how to look at the chat in OBS, and I don't
What I
know
did
where it went.
what I did is create a separate Twitch account and watch the chat on a separate computer while we
Oh,
stream. So you
wow.
can try that.
That's clever.
Megan in the chat says matcha is like a green powder you can make into tea, and she thinks it tastes like grass.
Hmm.
Uh, Control Alt and Delete says so does mate, but they have different grass flavors. Things are heating up in the mate matcha fandom here. Okay, Jared, I'm gonna sell our pigs. Do
Okay.
we? I'm just gonna keep it unemotional.
Yeah.
Just watch that number of gold. Watch that go up here. You ready? Is everyone watching it?
Mm-hmm. Wow, dude.
20,000 for one pig.
That's wild.
Here we go.
Bacon
Here's the
must
other
be at a
one.
premium in this world.
Yeah. Okay, we've got so much money. We need to start investing some of this.
Yeah, so buying fruit trees, I think, is my suggestion. I'll go do that if you want.
Okay, sounds good.
And they can be of any kind because we're
Yeah.
putting them in the greenhouse. So, what's the most? I mean, they bear fruit just every day.
Yeah, I would just go with whatever one's cheapest. And there might be multiple that are tied for that.
Okay. Hello, fellow store person. Oh, it's Gus. I'm getting some supplies for the saloon. Pierre's got the or Pierre's got the good stuff. Pierre, do you sell liquor here? Am I just drinking stuff I could get at the store? All right.
Um, but Barma says Grinchy cocaine is green too. Okay,
That
I've got some geodes to
is a
bust
rock
open, so I'm gonna
fact.
go visit Clint and then buy some copper because we need it for tappers so that we can get sap so that we can make kegs.
Okay.
What a twisted web of consumption we're weaving here.
Berkeley apricot saplings cost 2,000 and
Okay.
we have buckets of money now. I could fill my whole inventory with these, but we probably don't need my whole inventory
Oh,
full of them.
yeah. In fact, we can't. They have to be a certain distance away from each other in the greenhouse, so that
Okay.
would be a bad idea.
I
Does
am going to
anyone in the
start
chat
with like
know how many we can get? We can plant at least 8. I know that.
I'm going to
I,
start with 8.
okay. Yeah, if anyone has Google handy and wants to tell us how many fruit trees you can fit in the greenhouse, we would profit greatly from that information.
Yeah, and I'll just put these in the chest. I don't want to plant them wrongly.
Okay. Yeah, I can come in and plant them.
So, Berkeley, we were talking last stream or two streams ago about reading classic literature
Mm-hmm.
and also using it as a flex, but badly.
Uh-huh.
I finished The Count of Monte Cristo last week.
Nice. Congrats.
So I now not only can I lord it over other people that I've read it, but I can share my opinion with you guys if you're ready for it.
Yeah, share some opinions. Megan in the chat says max is 18 trees in the greenhouse.
Okay. I will go get 10 more trees then. Unless we want to dedicate that space to some other things. Maybe that was if you're planting everything in the greenhouse, just trees.
No, I think that's just around the border.
Around the border, okay.
Oh, 16, not 18.
16.
16.
Copy that. So I'll be buying another 8.
I'm so sorry, Megan in the chat.
Okay, so The Count of Monte Cristo is a book about a guy who gets betrayed and then spends the rest of his life and a considerable amount of money chasing revenge against the people who betrayed them and like slowly undoing them, if that makes sense. Like undermining all of their efforts, their families, and just like completely destroying their lives, so that by the time he leaves, by the time the book ends, everybody who betrayed him is well and truly undone. And it's interesting that's fine. That's like a reasonable plot to have for a book.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of hubris going on, I feel like, in the main character's mind, because while he's doing this, he feels like he is the like, I guess, the arm of God going and destroying these people, and the fact that he's successful in doing so shows that he's like doing like the divine providence's will. And that just seems like a very egotistical take on your own revenge plot, because I get that it's miraculous that you escaped from prison, you are now a rich and educated man, which you were not before, but I don't know, just dedicating your life to do something like that and believing that is so completely right that you're above reproach is pretty wild. And I think on some level the main character realizes that at the end of the book, because he kind of realizes that he has nothing left to live for at that point. But I guess I didn't love that was the kind of the take. That level of confidence can justify doing some pretty terrible things. And one of the themes of the book is that all the people that betrayed him became wealthy, except one, but that all of them became terrible people doing terrible things because of their flaws that already existed. Like, even though they became successful, they didn't become good, I guess. So he's surrounded by vapid, egotistical people, but in a way, like, he's not vapid, but he himself has also become quite egotistical, I think, in the process. So if you guys have read Count of Monte Cristo, do you agree? Disagree? Is revenge like, do the ends of revenge justify the means?
I get caught up in the chat real fast. Megan says we stress her out so much, and then realizes that it was 18. So she misread, and then I misread, and ended up at the right answer somehow. I did plant as many trees as I could. Somehow I ended up with one left over, one sapling, but we've got a pretty good fruit tree setup here. Sorry if it's
True.
a little suboptimal.
That's okay. This
Control and
run is
delete.
not about optimal.
That is abundantly clear. Yes, thanks. Control and delete says, is it the antithesis of the prosperity gospel?
Like so the prosperity gospel is the idea that if you are like behaving correctly that you'll become wealthy, and that
Hmm.
anybody who's wealthy must be wealthy because they were behaving correctly, and anybody who's poor must be poor because of their moral failings.
I think that's the most extreme version of it. I think there's lots of like more subtle ways of believing that, but yeah, good summary.
Yeah, definitely true. Definitely true. That is kind of the high contrast take, if you will. Um, I I don't know if that's the antithesis of the prosperity gospel, but I can see a kernel of truth in it. You know, being wealthy doesn't make you a good person, and it can give you a lot of opportunities to do things that you couldn't do as a poor person, for good and for bad. So yeah, you could interpret it that way, but I don't think that it was as cut and dry as that maybe, because there are a few wealthy people who are also solid, like the main character's original boss is one of those guys.
And Bobarma says that revenge is only justified in Dexter's lab.
That is that's a fact. If you never watched Dexter's Lab, it is a great cartoon from the, I want to say, late 90s, early 2000s, but I'm not sure how far back it goes.
That's one that I've seen so many screenshots from, but I don't think I've ever actually seen an episode.
It's worthwhile, in
I
my
didn't get a lot
opinion.
of channels growing up.
Yeah.
Still worthwhile, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, or like would have been
Uh,
worthwhile. You sucker, you missed your chance.
I think you could still enjoy it, but it's not the same as Avatar The Last Airbender. I would recommend, if you're going to watch it, it's probably because you're trying to entertain a child.
Okay, well I do a lot of that, hours and hours every day actually.
Give it a chance, I guess, then, and see what you think. You could probably find it on YouTube, by the way. It's it's old.
Nice. So overall, thumbs up or thumbs down on Count of Monte Cristo? Should we all read it?
I don't know. I came out of it having mixed feelings. I think from A Tale of Adventure and Daring Do, the first, I think the most interesting chapters take place about, I don't know, in the first half of the book, probably within the first third, and then from there it gets dull and kind of takes a long time for things to un- unwind, and like the plot becomes clear and the traps are laid and you start to understand what's going down. So I would say if you're going to read it, you could read an abridged version and get away with it. Um,
Mm.
if you're doing it for your pride and for bragging rights, you have to read unabridged, because if you flex on me with an
Obviously.
abridged edition, I'm going to laugh at you. But I would say that it's a complex tale, and just because I don't agree with the main character's motivation doesn't mean that it was bad. So
Mm.
I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. I was slightly favorably impressed. I did enjoy some of the old school look into society, the society and the history of France, because it's based in historical France, and it seems to be fairly historically accurate. I'm not a Frenchologist, so I don't know how true that is, but as an outsider who knows nothing, it seemed all right. Um, so yeah, 6 out of 10. If you're reading it for pleasure, you could probably get away with the abridged version, and if you're reading it for bragging rights, then go full in, but don't be like the main guy. That's my advice.
That's a good caveat. Thanks. Scamble says revenge didn't bring restitution of the relationship he lost or restore any happiness. Yeah,
True.
great point. I'm a pretty practical in my ethics, I think. Just optimizing happiness, I think, is gets you almost everywhere you want to go. So if you think, should I get revenge on this person? Will that make you happy? Often not. And Babarma says Dickens is more engaged reading. Probably a good comparison.
Berkeley and audience, I'd like to draw your attention away to what is supposed to be birds flying across the bottom of my screen, but actually looks like a bunch of spinning cactuses migrating. Anyways, they look like little spinning cactuses on their way.
That's amazing.
Nature's returning. It's recovering. What do they say?
Nature's healing.
Nature's healing. That's what they say. All right, Berkeley. Okay. I heard that you're close to finishing Fallout 4.
Yes, sir. So we talked about Fallout 4 a couple weeks ago, so I don't want to talk about it too much today, but I am just at the very beginning of the final act of the main quest of the game. I mean, there's still like hundreds of hours of side quests and exploring I could do, but right at the end of the main plot, and I have been so impressed with the last act of the game. So I want to talk about that and then talk about why I think it's cool.
Can we get a very brief recap of just the setting? So everybody's on the same page.
Not everyone has been playing this for hours and hours a week?
I don't think so.
Okay. Real quick, Control and Delete says the coolness of the means used for revenge justify the immoral ends. Another great take that I can get behind, even though it contradicts all the other takes that I've gotten behind.
True. If you ever wanted to fantasize about just rich flexing on everybody around you, this book is for you.
All right, so Fallout 4 takes place in a post-apocalyptic America, Northeast specifically. And there's like a nuclear war, and so everything is in ruins. There are some zombie-type people who like got too irradiated and then turned into ghouls. There are some people that are really trying hard to rebuild society. There's some people that are trying really hard to just rob everyone that they encounter. There's a big evil corporation that's making robots that are indistinguishable from humans, and then there's a bunch of people that don't like those robots, and that's pretty much the setting. Anything else I should say for context?
No, I think that covers it.
Cool. So the way that the main quest plays out is really, really cool. So the game has like 4 major factions in it that I would say, and lots of role-playing games have that. Like you'll have a traditional thieves guild and the wizard school and the mercenaries. I'm just thinking of the ones in Skyrim. But lots of games will have different factions that you can join.
Yeah.
What Fallout does that's really cool is those factions all have opinions about each other. And the way that the main quest plays out is you, pretty close to the end, you have to pick one of those factions, but then you still have to continue interacting with the other ones. So in Skyrim, each faction had just like its 5 or 6 or 7 quests that you had to do in a row, but then that wouldn't affect your relationship with the other factions at all. This one, in Fallout, there's times where you have to be like a double agent, or you have to choose who you're going to betray. And the things that you do for one faction will affect the other faction's opinions of you. And that has just made it super rewarding. I think it's made the decisions that you have to make, especially towards the end of the game, it makes them a lot more meaningful and just makes the world feel a lot more rich and alive. So yeah, I've been a big fan of that. Really impressed with how the story is concluding. And Jared and I were talking before the stream. This same game studio hasn't released a game, I don't think, in a while, at least not a major one.
Mm-hmm.
But they have a few big ones announced. Elder Scrolls 6, which would be the sequel to Skyrim. And then they've got a sci-fi space exploration game coming out. So we're really excited to see if they take some of the same storytelling techniques, have that same, like the depth of the decisions that you have to make at the end.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they can, because the difference between Skyrim and Fallout 4 is huge in terms of complexity and quality. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to make things more complex without making them better.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see how that goes. Berkeley, you mentioned something interesting about the computer programming side of that setup.
Yeah, not so much programming per se, but like some of the theory and like mathematical concepts that are important to programmers. I've just been thinking about, well, let me back up. So I want to explain why I think it's so cool to have just this idea of different groups having opinions about each other in a game. So um, we can actually let's use Stardew Valley as an example. So Stardew Valley has like 30-ish NPCs. So that means that you have 30 different relationships with 30 different people. Each one of those has a score from 1 to 10, which is like the number of hearts that you have with those people. And depending on how many hearts you have, you can get certain perks. They'll send you gifts in the mail. You um, can access their bedrooms. You can date some of them. You get different dialogue with them, different cutscenes with them. So you've got these 30-ish different concurrent relationships going on. Now, if the NPCs in Stardew Valley were able to have relationships with each other, then instead of 30 relationships that are going on, you have 30 times 30-ish. It's 30 times 29, actually, if it's exactly 30 NPCs. I don't know exactly how many NPCs there are, but we can estimate it as 30 times 30 relationships going on if everyone has an opinion on every other person. And I think that's where a lot of the depth that I've enjoyed from Skyrim or from Fallout comes from, is just having so many more relationships and dynamics and opinions going on. So I just think that's a really neat concept where instead of it's just the player interacting with everyone, it's the player interacting with everyone and people interacting with each other. Um, and of course, you as the player need to see the important parts in order for that to actually be interesting. Um, but like for example, if you could choose, I think that Gus and Pam should date each other. So I'm going to do things to get them together. Or I want Abigail and Sebastian to stop being friends. So I'm going to do things to break their friendship up. Um, that just gives you like a much richer world and I think a more lifelike world.
Yeah.
Because that is how the real world works. It's not just your life isn't just full of static people that are waiting for you to give them enough apples to unlock a new cutscene.
Oh, really?
They've got other things going on as well.
I thought that everybody around me didn't exist unless I was talking to them, and they only cared about what I thought about. I'm an
Well, I
engineer.
can't prove to you that that's not true. So,
Berkeley,
and
I just
oh,
realized new
oh yeah,
month, new super rare fish that I have to catch.
oh yeah. Do you know what the winterfish is?
I don't, but I'm looking
Well,
right now.
okay.
It's called a glacier fish, I'm pretty sure.
That would make sense. So I'm curious if anyone else has games that they like where you've got that like more complicated social structure instead of just having relationships with a set number of people or a set number of factions, if those people also care about each other. That was a thing in Harvest Moon, right? Like getting NPCs to date each other.
You know, I the version I played, I thought it was only the player and the eligible characters, but there that could have been incorporated. I never, you know me, I never got too deep into it, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Fair
it
enough.
might be possible, but I never saw it.
Okay. Jared, I'm gonna need to buy some wood from Robin tomorrow so that I can make some more tappers so we can get the ingredients for kegs.
Okay.
Just a heads
How
up.
how much wood do you need? I have put some in one of the chests from blowing
Yeah,
up
I found
those spare
60
trees.
there.
Okay.
That is enough for 1.5 tappers, and I think I need to build 8-ish.
Okay.
So I need another like 200 or so.
Okay. Yeah. That's a lot more than I could provide. Holy
Okay.
cow. Legendary fish right off the bat. Let's go.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, this one's
Like
really
you
hard.
Okay, I'm gonna stop what I'm doing and just watch you
Oh no.
with a 5 second delay.
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna get this one. Yep. That's rough. Okay.
Okay, we do have some seafoam pudding here in this chest. If so, that'll give you a +4 to fishing, so that'll make your bar a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So if you want to try again tomorrow, you'll have better odds.
Can you only try once per day?
No, I just don't know if you'll have time to come back and
Oh.
grab it. And then...
I'm
Do you want me to bring you a seafoam pudding?
Oh no, it's okay. I had some lures with me that can do different stuff, so I'll give it a shot.
I'll bring you one right now. Just
Okay.
say the word.
The
Okay,
word.
I'm on my way.
Here it is again. And it's gone.
Oof. Okay, let me see if I can give this to you without dropping it in the water.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Okay. Do you know
Oof.
where I am?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I almost gave it to Sebastian. 'Cause I thought that was you. Oh, do I know where you are?
I'm
Where
kind
are
of
you?
by
You're
the
by.
Hat Mouse cabin.
I was so wrong about where you were. I just saw the shape of the island you were on and thought you were up by the mines.
Ah,
So I went very much the wrong direction. I'm still coming. I'm just gonna be late.
that is a-okay. We've got at least 3 hours before we have to go to bed. All right, Berkeley. I heard you had more mods to talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna talk more about more mods today. Um, Sorry, I still don't have a way to phrase this as like trivia questions. So we're gonna call it trivia, but just know that it's not trivia questions, just trivia. So last time we did some mods that change like gameplay mechanics or introduce new mechanics. Today we're gonna be talking about aesthetic mods. One of the really cool things about this game is that all of the visuals are just saved in their own files, which means that they're very, very easy to mod. You don't need any programming experience at all to be able to change what a character looks like, what the farm looks like, what a tree looks like, what a pig looks like. All of that is super customizable with no programming at all. You just need to replace a file. And so, as you might expect, there's been some really creative people that made some really good looking mods that are just reskins of the game in the most literal sense. I guess not the most literal sense, because that would be gross, but the second most literal sense. Okay, I'm gonna drop this pudding behind you, and you can come get it.
Okay.
Dang it. I'll wait till you're able to come. Okay, so the first mod I want to talk about. Um, so there's a bunch of this genre of mods are called portrait mods. So this just changes when you're talking to an NPC there's like a little picture of them in the bottom right. So portrait mods just replace those portraits and nothing else. Um, there's like 10-ish images per person, depending on what emotion they're feeling at the moment. And so creating a portrait mod is quite a bit of work, but there's some really cool ones. So I went on that same PC gamer blog post that I used last time, and oh, are you done fishing?
Yeah, I didn't want to waste it like on the off
Okay,
chance that I didn't get it on the hook again. So I'll do it
makes
tomorrow.
sense. So according to PC Gamer, some of the most used aesthetic mods are ones that just replace all the portraits with just kind of like anime style uh, portraits of the people. And if you have time, you should look some up because they are just gorgeous, really, really interesting art. So that's a popular thing to do. I also found a portrait mod that just turns all the bachelors and bachelorettes into monsters and mythical creatures. Um, Let me pull some up on my phone so I can describe some of them. So we've got Alex as an ogre, Elia as a mermaid, which is just so perfect. Looks like they did Shane as a werewolf. Um, Penny is a cyclops with a unicorn horn. Leah is looks like a dryad. Maru is a cyborg. Yeah, just cool stuff like that. So that one looks like a lot of fun. It's fun how just like changing the images can really change the feel of the game. So those are portrait mods. I also found a bunch that changed what the animals look like. So there's one called Slime Farmer. Uh, oh, wait, Control and Delete says Slightly Hotter Wizard is the best Stardew Valley mod. No further questions, please. I've seen images of that one. When I saw the name, I was like, okay, so that's a joke, and they made him super hot. Nope, just slightly hotter wizard. Love that. Okay, so I guess there's another game called Slime Farmer that is a little similar to the farming side of Stardew Valley, but in space.
Wow.
And someone made a mod based on that game, based on this game, which is fun. Um, so what it does is it just replaces all the animal sprites with like slime versions of those animals. So they have the same coloring, but a totally different shape. And then there was another one called Cuter, Fatter Cows, which was just exactly what it said on the tin. Um, I wondered if it was a joke. Have you heard that reference of assume a spherical cow?
Oh, like in physics?
It's like a joke that physicists make to make fun of themselves.
Yeah, we
Um,
okay. So in my physics 2 class, we actually did that.
oh, really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So yeah.
So if you're not familiar with the joke, a lot of science problems are easier if you simplify the problem. So like maybe you can't figure out how fast a baseball would go exactly, but if you pretended that there weren't little lines on the baseball and it was perfectly spherical and there was no air resistance, then you can calculate it. Um, and sometimes people make so many generalizations that their calculations aren't useful anymore. So the idea of assume a spherical cow with uniform density, I think is the phrase, the full phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just making fun of that idea. So the fatter, cuter cows, they look very, very round, and I wonder if that was loosely inspired by assume a spherical cow. But I've got no evidence for that.
We
And
need to
then the
make a
last,
mod called Assume a Spherical Cow, and all the cows are just spheres.
that would be great, and that's the only change. Maybe the walking animation could be rolling instead.
I love it.
And then the last class of like visual change mods I wanted to bring up are just ones that change the color palette slightly. So my wife uses one of these. Oh, she told me the name earlier and I forgot it. Maybe she'll say it in the chat. Um, but it just makes all the colors a little bit more muted, a little bit just softer, more aesthetic. Like all the purples turn to lavender and all the yellows turn to brown and all the green turns to a darker green. Because I like the visuals of this game, but they can be a little bit harsh. So it just makes it nice and soft, like a painting. And there's a whole bunch of them like that. Oh, Earthly Recolor was the name of that mod. I really like it.
I caught the glacier fish.
Nice.
I also got a treasure while I was catching it. So
Wow. Brag.
the seafoam pudding helped a ton. Thank you, Berkeley.
Nice. Thank you. I think it was probably Megan in the chat that recommended buying that. Lifesaver, as always. So, my question for the chat and for Jared is Scamble says Werner Herzog, sad beige Stardew Valley. My question for the chat is what aesthetic mods would you like? Either ones that already exist or ones that you would like to create? Um, Personally, I would be curious about trying to turn Stardew Valley into like a Rick and Morty type setting just by changing the visuals and nothing else. I don't know how well that would work, but I'm curious if you could do it.
That would be really interesting. I could see that being not only possible but fairly popular.
Mm.
Um, if you've ever been to the real like rural America, you know that it's not as nice as Stardew Valley depicts it. I need my
Okay.
Stardew Valley to be just a little more depressing, please. Can we make it a little more run down, a little more grungy? Call it.
We've got
Go ahead.
we got a couple recommendations for Simpson animation style.
Okay.
That would be great. Um, yeah, Jared, that is a good suggestion. Maybe a little bit more like everyone's house looks like Pam's.
Yeah. There you go. It's all like it's all trailers. All right.
I'm gonna run to the desert and put these tappers on hopefully some trees. We'll see if they've all grown. I planted 8 trees to get the type of sap that we need, and 2 of them had fully grown the last time I was here. I'm hoping they all have now.
Okay. I have stored our legendary fish so that we have it for later. And I am going to go.
Ooh. We've got a Tim Burton's Nightmare Stardew Valley. That would be awesome.
That actually would be really, really cool. And I bet people would just eat it up. They go
Yeah.
nuts for Tim Burton's animated style.
Well, apparently I was misremembering things because I planted 6 trees in the desert. 4 of them were already grown with tappers on them, and the other 2 still have not grown. I thought that trees grew at a pretty uniform rate, but I must have been wrong about that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Are they like partially grown?
Yeah,
Okay, so they're not like running into a boundary issue. It's just
right.
slow.
Hmm.
Maybe they stopped growing because of the weather? I don't know how it works here.
The desert doesn't have weather mechanics, I don't think.
Okay.
Although I guess in the valley, trees don't grow during winter. Campbell says if there's weeds too close, they won't grow. There aren't any weeds here. I'll give it some more time. I'm not going to panic yet. Babarma says Stardew Valley. Ska is not a phase.
What would that look like? Everybody's wearing top hats and suspenders? I don't know what the ska. Okay. It's time to look at what ska fashion is. This might be terrifying.
This is a tough conversation to have after reading the Mistborn series because the working class people there are called Ska.
Oh, ska is like dress clothes, but like very colorful or wild patterns. Yeah, that wouldn't be so bad. It might be a little bit grating on the old eye pieces, but possible, makeable.
Babarma says all movement is Running Man, and Control Delete says every single song in the soundtrack has a horn section. It does not pass the vibe check. Nothing against horns, just not. It feels very different from
The
the rest of
spirit of the
Stardew.
game.
Yeah. Although I guess that's what modding's for,
It's
right?
true.
Like if you can make tiny changes that totally change the feel of the game, that's really impressive. Hemp as a crop option. There is a very popular um there's a popular mod where you can just grow weed. I think that's the whole mod. Just adds a new crop.
Berkeley, good news. We are
Yes.
now 3 items closer to completing the museum.
Nice. What did you find?
I found some minerals. I just donated them, so I don't remember the names. One of them was
I love
Gemini,
minerals.
and we got a new reward. Give it to me. I want it. What is it? Espresso, lame. Decorations, lame. Pumpkin seeds, lame. A night on Eco Hill. That's kind of cool. Crystal chair. Now we're talking. Now we are talking.
Finally some respect.
Okay. Are y'all Narnia fans?
I have feelings about Narnia. Let's hear what chat says.
Berkeley, did you ever watch? I don't remember who made it. It might have been the BBC, but they made like a live action version of the different books, and one of them was like the Prince in the Silver Chair or something.
Oh yeah, it's just called The Silver
The
Chair.
Silver
Is
Chair. Okay.
the name of the book. Yeah.
Well, it was pretty wild. Let me tell you what. Uh, Giant snakes, mind control, other other things that young me was very impressed by. So now I finally have a chair that is similar in visuals to the Silver Chair, and you know where it belongs,
Right on the porch.
right?
Please don't block the chest.
That'd be so sad. No, I don't know where I'll put it. It's
Put it right up here where the spouse's garden goes. Since,
I
I don't
was
know if we'll ever
hoping
get married.
to block the door with it, but I can't do that. So it's gonna go right next to the fire because I think actually in the live action adaptation there's like a bunch of fires in like the throne room. I'll have to look this up or watch it
Nice.
again at some point.
Yeah, that looks good. Oh, and you can't pick
He
up.
immediately takes it away.
Sorry, I was just testing if you could pick up furniture. That was a very
Unlike
rude, I
the
realized.
drum block here.
Control and Delete says obviously a fan of Narnia, and Silverchair is the best Narnia. Wow, hot take. You ever heard that? I enjoyed it, but definitely one of the lesser known Narnia books.
I wish that there had been more cinematic adaptations. I don't know if you guys watched the first two that they did in like 2008, 2009. I thought they were all right. Maybe not super
Yeah.
true to the books, but like well done, in my opinion.
Screw the books, right? Just kidding.
Said no fandom ever.
Yeah, I loved the Narnia books as a kid. I reread them last year, and the world is so charming. It's like so delightful to read about Narnia because the world is so charming, which is exactly what I was hoping for. But there were a lot of parts of it that just didn't age super well for me. Um, I don't know. I don't want to crap on these books because I did love them as a kid, and I know a lot of people still love them now. But I felt like Aslan was just so what's the right word? Petty? No,
Mm.
arbitrary. Like everything that he did and taught, not everything, but much of it was just about like making people jump through hoops, um, like chastising people for weird things that weren't actually wrong to do, making a kid tear off all his skin because he was a dragon because he was a bully. Uh, just some pretty harsh stuff in there.
It's
that
pretty
felt-
hardcore.
Yeah. I don't know. It reflects like a more violent version of the Christian God than I care to believe in. I don't know if that's how C.S. Lewis saw things. I guess there's some pretty harsh stuff in the Bible too, so maybe that's a totally fair Christian metaphor. Sorry, that's my cold take on,
Oh,
or not cold, maybe probably unpopular take on
don't be sorry.
Chronicles of Narnia.
Berkeley, when you walk in, I want to reenact a scene from Fantastic Mr. Fox, if you've seen that film.
Okay.
You're okay, so you just entered, you're Mr. Fox in this scene.
I knew immediately what you're doing.
Hey, didn't see you sitting in the dark over there. Oh,
Oh,
you're
maybe
back early.
Maybe I didn't know I don't know have the movie memorized. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so there was a house fire down the road, and they need somebody to go by and take a couple quick interviews. What's the deal with the bandit masks? Oh, I'm just holding these for a friend.
I'm sorry. I let you down.
That's okay. It was a beautiful moment in my head. I got to relive it. That's enough for me.
I'm glad. Jared, look how much money we make. I'm so pleased with us.
I know. That's great. It's great to be living large
Yeah.
and living our values, most importantly. So I have to admit, I never read past the first book in Narnia. I've only read the first book.
Mm.
And so I actually didn't know about the metaphor that was being made until I watched the movie and like thought more about it, because it was kind of a topic of conversation at the time when it came out, especially for, somebody who's religious around a lot of religious people.
Hmm.
Oh, you need the sap probably, don't you?
I have two, which is as many as I need right now.
Okay, I'm putting it in this chest.
So we're almost at an hour. Do you want to
Oh,
do another day, or do you want to call it
oh
there?
man. Okay, yeah, we should probably wrap it up.
Okay. Do you want to just peek in our shed real fast?
I
Got some
do.
exciting news. I got some news in the shed. You want to come see it?
I
Come see my news.
I saw something nasty in the woodshed. We are starting a whole scale bootlegging business, and
We
soon
sure
we are going to
are.
be wearing pinstripe hats in addition to these fine hats, pinstripe suits in addition to these fine hats, and carrying Tommy guns around in violin cases.
Yep. So we've got quite a bit of oak resin right now, which is one of the ingredients for kegs. So as soon as we can get enough, just as fast as we can get copper, iron, and wood, the other three ingredients, we'll be able to keep building up these kegs and getting more and more star fruit turned into wine, and we're just gonna become filthy rich.
So we can't walk through these, so we have to do like rows, right?
Yes. So you can do a full row in the back, and then after that you do like 2 rows and a gap, and 2 rows and a gap, 2 rows and a gap
Can you access,
with the
if you put
column
one
down the
on the
middle.
edge, can you access the corner one so you can like do
Ooh, good question. I believe you can. Um, yeah, let's fill in everything else first and then come back and do those if we want.
Okay. Okay. Well, that is awesome. We are going to be building ourselves a small pool worth of money to bathe in.
Yes, and
Uh,
then buy stuff from the wizard so that we can reach perfection.
that's right.
Yeah, we should probably keep reminding people why we're focused on money. There's some really expensive buildings that we need to buy from the wizard.
That's
That's
true.
all.
Infrastructure
That's the
doesn't
whole
come
story.
cheap, and are we are going to be building so many things, so many
It's
different things.
infrastructure week every week here.
That's right. So
All right.
come back again next week and watch us do it.
Yep. We're doing so much so well. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for your comments. It's delightful to have you all in the chat. Please remember to follow us on Instagram and YouTube and Twitch. Links for all of those are in the description of the video if you're watching on YouTube, or in our About section if you're watching on Twitch.
Bye.
Bye.